Hey everybody, welcome to another scorching hot day in Montreal and another news of the day video, mostly involving Montreal, but there's news for everything. Um, we won't waste any time. We'll get right into news of the day. So, Alex Romanov, and I just found this out today, but he signed his contract, so it's not just that he's going to sign. He signed his contract May 8th. So Alex Romanov is officially a signed Montreal Canadiens player. Um, Also news about his status. They had said, I think it was Bill Daly had said a little while back that players signed like that were not going to be able to play. And it was even kind of reiterated if you watch the video there's a YouTube video with Bill Daly and what's his name, Gary Bettman, and they talk about this, I believe, that the players they're not going to be able to play. Yet, today, there's news. By the way, Marc Bergevin had come out and said that he doesn't think he's going to play, and then he said that it's still open, it's not decided. And then news today, the NHL and the NHLPA announced that instead of there's a cutoff for signing these kind of players, it's June 1st. But Romanov was signed before that, so I don't know what the problem is. But they're pushing this back to July 1st, and that's going to leave Romanov's status open right now. So I guess it's about a 50-50 chance that Romanov actually might play in these playoffs. I'm hoping so. And I think if the NHL really kind of wants to jazz it up a little bit, make it even more exciting, no, I think it's going to be pretty exciting playoffs. They'll let players like Romanov play in the playoffs this year. So fingers crossed, Alex Romanov could play when if hockey gets back together, if it gets back started. That's if they get started again. A funny quote from Marc Bergevin. He did an interview, I guess by radio. Mostly in French. It was I saw it online. And if you know Montreal radio at all, there's on the sports station here, Tony Marinaro. So he got a chance to ask a question, and his question was, from a matchups perspective, why are you optimistic? Because we know Marc Bergevin is optimistic that they'll beat Pittsburgh. And Bergevin said, because the game is played on the ice, not on a sheet of paper. And I like that. And he also said, that's hockey. That's sports. So what he's saying is, yes, on paper, probably it looks like Pittsburgh should win, and I agree that Pittsburgh should win. But on paper it does, and he's right in that it's on the ice that the game is played, and he cited the last year Columbus Blue Jackets in Tampa Bay, and he's right. Columbus should not have beaten Tampa Bay, and they did. So, I mean, there's hope, right? I kind of really do want that draft pick, but I mean, there is hope for Montreal. They definitely have hope. I can't say it enough. Jonathan Drouin is ready to go. So, but Bergevin said about that, he was asked about Drouin and Victor Mete. So he said, well, Jonathan Drouin is here. He is in Montreal. He's ready to play. He says you can tell the fact that he is here in Montreal that he's ready to play. Victor Mete hasn't arrived in Montreal yet, obviously, but or not obviously, but he hasn't. I don't know how many players are here in Montreal right now. But he said he hasn't really spoken to him. He doesn't. It's unknown. The staff doesn't know. They don't know at this moment exactly what Victor Mete's status is. He could be ready to go, and he might not. So still question mark on Victor Mete, but Drouin is ready to go. So that's good news. Playoff rosters, and this I just heard in. I'll give it to a hockey guy. I look at everything to get all my information on it. If I learn something off the hockey guy, I'm fine with that. And I didn't know this because I hadn't come across this. The GMs were told, I guess yesterday, that the playoff rosters would go to 28, so they can carry 28 instead of 24, and plus the taxi squad for any injuries. So I think that's like a 12-man taxi squad. I think that's what I heard. But there will be a taxi squad, so if anybody gets hurt, there's players to call up there with the team. And unlimited goalies. So all the goalies in the system can be in camp. And they can use, goalie gets injured, or, I guess they're figuring maybe a player does get sick. Maybe it's a goalie. Anyways, it's unlimited goalies, and I guess that means they can carry as many goalies with the team as they feel they need. So that's pretty interesting. Canada, their 14-day quarantine rule. Is that going to be a deal breaker for being a hub city? For Edmonton, Vancouver, Toronto's in the running, although I don't know if it's doing well enough there as far as the COVID. I don't know why Toronto's in there, but it's because it's Toronto. But if you come into Canada, you have to be quarantined or at least isolated for 14 days. that could be a deal breaker because they've already said, the NHL, in this thing I was talking about with Bill Daly and Gary Bettman, they said that that is not going to be acceptable to them. They're going to need that to be either waived or what. I don't know. I'm what's the word? I'm not exactly quoting, but paraphrasing. So is that going to be a deal breaker? So so that could mean that the U.S. Might be the base for some of the camps for the Canadian teams. Montreal, they might even all hold camp in the U.S. so that they don't have to worry about any kind of quarantining. And I believe there's some states that are also requiring it, but I personally think that in the States, money talks, and I think it wouldn't be a problem. Whereas in Canada, I don't think they're going to bend on that rule. I really don't. Okay, Hart Trophy finalists have been announced, and no, Artemi Panarin is not in there, and that's kind of odd because the Hart Trophy is for the most valuable player, I believe, and that means the player that's the most valuable to their team in their success. Right? So what would that team be like without this player? And I think Artemi Panarin, the Rangers would maybe not, they might be in the bottom 7 that are not going to make the playoffs. They wouldn't have this opportunity, I think, without Panarin, honestly. But he's not in the list. Leon Draisaitl from Edmonton, we all know. Nathan MacKinnon from Colorado, and David Pastrnak from Boston. Now, you can't argue Pastrnak. I really don't think you can argue Pastrnak. I just think without Pastrnak, Boston have a lot of good players, but I think without Pastrnak, Boston's not number 1 in the conference. I don't think so. McKinnon and Draisaitl, I think those teams have a lot more around them. They're great players, but I think it's not just them. Although Draisaitl, he's got McDavid with him. You can't, I don't know. But I really think Pastrnak and I think Panarin should have been there. I don't know who to take off there, honestly, but I think Panarin really should have been there. I think he's 5th in the running. But these are the 3 finalists. Montreal is not signing those prospects. I told you I think a couple days ago there were 4, although Arvid Henriksen was not mentioned. So I'm wondering if someone where I got that from had him wrong. He was 2 years older than these guys. But these guys are from the 2018 draft. And they had till Monday to, is my cat going nuts? I don't know. They had till Monday to sign them. And they've already announced that they're not going to sign any of them. And I imagine they don't feel these guys are going to make the NHL, and they have so many prospects now. It shows you how full the cupboard is actually, something like this, that they can't sign guys like this to give them time in the AHL and see. They need to sign guys that they feel will make the NHL, and they have enough of them coming up that they don't. So these guys are going back into the draft pool. So I don't know if anyone's going to draft them at the draft. Montreal could redraft them and give them a little bit extra time to see if they develop than having to sign them to a contract right now. So that's a possibility. Talk I read was McShane could get that. I would have thought Fonstad, but it looks like McShane. It's a possibility. I don't think it's going to happen. Raphael Harvey-Pinard, who's one of my favorite draft picks, the 7th round pick from last draft. He's the captain of the Chicoutimi Saguenayens in the QMJHL. He's an overage player there. He led the team in scoring. I didn't search to see what his numbers were, but it's a story I came across. So he's their scoring leader. And also that he should, it has to do with this too. He was drafted in 2019. These guys in 2018. It gives them a year longer to have to sign him, and they can sign him to a minor league deal this season instead to play in Laval. So instead of having to sign him to an ELC and all that, they can sign Harvey Pinard, because that's not his name, Harvey Pinard. It's Raphael Harvey Pinard. I don't know why I'm saying that. They can sign him to a minor league deal that he'd play in the AHL for the Rocket, and it gives him more options. And then, if he does well there, he could still come up and play in Montreal later, like not this next season, like in a later contract that would be a 2-way contract and then maybe a 1-way NHL contract if he makes it. Yeah, I'm really happy to see that because I really like this Harvey Pinard. I've kind of gone out of my way to say I really think this guy's going to be an NHLer. I don't know, it's just a gut feeling, and it's good to see that that's what they're going to do with him. He led his team. This guy can play. I don't know what the knock on him is, but this guy can play. It's a lot. I think that a lot of it to do is he's an overager, so he's older, and he doesn't put up stats. They always say if you're the oldest player on the team, you should have the best stats. Where here he did. He led the team. And I don't know what the knock is. I just like this guy. Okay, Jack Eichel. There's a, I don't know if it's from an interview, but there's a big, I read a big paragraph from it. He is, quote, fed up with losing. It's part of the thing he's saying. And he said it's been a tough last 5 years in Buffalo. He's kind of signaling that he wants out, or he wants them to do something to get over that hump that they can't get over. He says he starts every season expecting to win the Stanley Cup, or thinking that they could win the Stanley Cup. He's already training for next season. He's dedicated. It's getting tough losing. He likes the coach. He mentioned the coach. I think he's just, I don't know if he's signaling that he would like them to think about trading him if it doesn't work next year. I would imagine he'll still be there for another year or two. But I think this is the first, it's like the shot over the bow, they say, of him wanting to leave Buffalo. Can't blame the guy. Imagine what he could do on a team that doesn't choke like Buffalo. I don't know. For all the Buffalo fans who may be watching this, I don't mean anything to criticize, but I mean, Buffalo just has a way of lately starting out well and then just it goes downhill. So yeah, Jack Eichel is kind of not happy there with that. The last item is not a hockey item, but it's just the Premier League, the Premier Soccer League. I guess it's in the UK. I saw on Twitter they're announcing they're starting up in June on the 17th, so that'll be professional soccer in Europe. Starting, they said a restart. To me, from what I understand, they've already are in like what our phase 2 is going to be for NHL. I think they're already doing that, so I believe it's restarting the games for real. So they said that's July 17th. Anybody there out here? Did I write July? Sorry, I'm going to correct that. That's June. June 17th, not July. June 17th. So yeah, if anybody likes soccer, I don't really. Yeah, there you can look for that. So I think that's it. That's all my items. I don't know if I missed out on saying anything about any of it. I think I covered everything. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. If you like the video, give a thumbs up. While you're heading down there to do that, and if you have any comments about any of this stuff, anything I've said, your ideas, if you think I'm an idiot, I mean, you can say it. You can say it in a nice way. I appreciate that. But let me know what you think about any of these items up here. And yeah, and while you're down there, if you haven't already, can you subscribe and ring that notifications bell? I really appreciate that. That's going to get you your daily fix of Blue Blanc Rouge right here at Talking Habs. And thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Wear the mask, all that kind of stuff that I always say. Please, everybody, stay safe. And I will see you next video. Peace out. Bye, y'all.